Welcome, curious minds, to the deep dive. Today, we're plunging into something pretty interesting, the ever-shifting landscape of car rental prices in Maui. We've actually got some really specific insights digging into what's happening on the ground right now. This comes from a detailed report looking at July 2025 trends, historical data, forecasts, the works. So this deep dive, it's designed as your shortcut, to being really well-informed.
Absolutely. And our mission for you today is simple. Pull out the most important bits of knowledge, those surprising facts about Maui car rentals. We want you to understand not just the numbers, though, we'll get into those, but the why behind them, what it all means if you're planning a trip, or maybe you're just curious about how these markets can get so turned upside down.
Yeah, because there's a central twist here, and it's a big one. There's been an unexpected safety recall, and it's creating this huge ripple effect, dramatically changing what you'll pay, and sometimes whether you can even find the car you actually want. Okay, let's unpack this. So let's start with the big picture, the headline that really jumped out from the report. Maui car rental prices for July 2025. Well, they're a complete mixed bag. It's like a market of extremes. You've got minivans and SUVs sharply up price-wise, while other cars are actually dipping. It seems counterintuitive.
It really is. And the main thing driving this paradox is that minivan recall we mentioned. Basically, most minivan units have been pulled, sidelined, so availability is just sporadic, really hit or miss.
Yeah.
And the impact if you need a minivan, it's pretty severe. The report mentioned off-airport prices hitting over, get this, $4,000 a week, including taxes and fees. I mean, wow. For that price, you'd almost expect a personal driver thrown in, wouldn't you?
$4,000 for a minivan. That's wild. So, okay, minivans are basically off the table for most people right now. What's that doing to the demand for other cars? Are SUVs just getting hammered?
Precisely. That's exactly what's happening. SUVs are effectively the second choice. For people who maybe had a minivan booked and it got canceled or they were thinking about one, and this demand surge, it's creating a huge premium. Standard SUVs are running at 113% premium over their average price for the last year, and the 7-seat SUVs, even higher, 118% premium. It's a direct transfer of demand we're seeing play out.
Okay, so minivans are almost impossible to get. SUVs are sky high. It really does sound like two completely different markets operating side by side. But you mentioned some surprising deals hiding in there somewhere. Where are those?
Right. Let's get specific. These are the figures for the week of July 28th, 2025, coming out of Kahului Airport. That's OGG, the airport code you'll see. So yeah, the high demand, high price stuff. Cheapest ATV is up 44%, hitting $844 a week from Dollar. The 7-seaters are up 40%. That's $12,238 to whale a week from Thrifty. But here's where it gets interesting for you if you're booking. Convertibles, they're an incredible deal. Just $354 a week from Payless. That's down 4% from just last week. And get this, 44% below their 52-week median price. It's almost fire sale level, really. Jeeps are also looking pretty good. $484 a week, also from Payless. That's down 26% from last week, 14% below the yearly median. Meanwhile, your standard cars are more stable. Economy's $277 a week from Budget, just 1% over its median. Midsize, $322 from Thrifty, actually 5% below its median.
Wow. So what does this all mean for you, the listener, trying to book a car in Maui right now? I mean, does this make you rethink needing that SUV, suddenly eyeing up a convertible maybe, even if it wasn't your first choice? It kind of shows how a crisis for one vehicle type can open up these, well, stylish opportunities elsewhere. Okay, let's shift gears a bit. Thinking out the future, what are the advanced reservation prices telling us? What's August looking like and beyond?
Well, looking at economy and compact cars, the prices seem to be past their main summer peak. They're actually dipping a bit into early August, though they do firm up again towards the end of August, right around Labor Day. But here's some crucial historical context. Looking back, like between 2013 and 2018, and then again just last summer in 2024, prices typically fall in August, and they tend to stay at that sort of depressed shoulder season level through most of September.
That's a really interesting pattern. And there's also this fizzling out thing we've seen recently, right? Like for Memorial Day and Independence Day, the advance prices were high, but then they actually dropped quite a bit for last-minute bookings. And the report thinks that might happen again for Labor Day. I mentioned there's no real historical Labor Day bump in prices.
Exactly. That's a key takeaway.
Right.
And to show you how that plays out right now, for this coming week, July 28th, the last-minute price today is actually lower than it was 5 weeks ago. That's for both airport and off-airport rentals. So specifically, renting from OGG Airport starting tomorrow, 5 weeks ago, that would have cost you $287 a week. Today, it's $277. It actually hit a low of $251 just 2 weeks ago. And off airport, that dropped from $254 5 weeks ago down to just $202 a week today. So sometimes waiting really can pay off.
Okay, this brings us to something a lot of people just assume, myself included sometimes. Is it always cheaper to rent off airport? It just feels like it should be, right?
Yeah, that's a conventional wisdom. And historically, off airport was generally expected to be lower, mainly because of those higher mandatory taxes at the airport, plus sometimes a sort of discretionary convenience premium they charge right there. But that whole model seems to be completely turned on its head right now. We're seeing off-airport prices frequently being higher than airport prices. The reason the report gives is that off-airport locations might have cut back significantly on their inventory, maybe their operations too, especially after the Lahaina wildfires back in August 2023. It's a really significant shift from what people might expect.
And looking at the numbers right now for this week of July 28th, off-airport is cheaper than the airport only for economy cars. That's it. For pretty much everything else, midsize, Jeep, convertible, SUV, seven-seater SUV, and obviously minivans, the airport price is either lower or there's just nothing available off-airport at all. That really does flip the usual advice, doesn't it? So let's zoom out a little. How does Maui compare to the other Hawaiian islands for car rentals? Is generally the most expensive place, like some might think, especially with all this price craziness we've been talking about.
Here's another surprise for you. Maui's Kahului Airport, OGG, it actually has the lowest, cheapest one-week rental cost among all 5 major Hawaiian airports for July 28th. It's coming in at $278 a week for the cheapest option. Now, compare that to the most expensive islands for the same week. Honolulu H&L is $645 a week. Kona, KOA on the Big Island, is $616. Kauai is $329. And Hilo, also Big Island, is $304. So yeah, quite a difference.
That is genuinely surprising, especially given the minivan situation pushing up other prices on Maui. And you're saying this isn't just a one-off, a fluke for this particular week.
No, it seems pretty consistent recently. Maui has actually offered the lowest price point for 14 out of the last 17 weeks.
Yeah.
And for the other 3 weeks, it was the second lowest. So it's kind of become this unexpected bargain island for rentals, relatively speaking.
It's fascinating how you can get this level of detail, and it makes you trust the insights, knowing how the data is gathered. This isn't just, anecdotal stuff. There's a real method here.
Oh, absolutely. The methodology is pretty rigorous. It involves tracking 7 different vehicle categories every single week. They check 10 different rental companies at OGG, and they've been doing this since July 2024 with the economy car data going back even further to July 2023. Plus, they draw on previous 5-year studies for historical context. The price data itself comes from big aggregators like rentalcars.com and also rentals.mauicarental.biz, so it gives a really comprehensive view.
Right, so let's try and wrap this up. What we've really unpacked today is just how incredibly dynamic the Maui car rental market is. It's influenced by everything from, unexpected safety recalls to historical booking habits and even major regional events like the Lahaina wildfires. It's just a prime example of how factors you might not even think about can completely reshape prices and what's available to you as a consumer. Really shows how interconnected everything is.
It really does. And, raises a bigger question, perhaps. If something unexpected like a recall can so dramatically flip established market trends in car rentals, well, where else in your life might that common knowledge about pricing or about availability be completely turned on its head right now? What if, understanding these really fluid, changing patterns is actually the real key to finding value, not just sticking to old assumptions?
That's a really great thought to leave everyone with, something to ponder for sure. We definitely encourage you to reflect on these insights, maybe apply them to your own planning, or just use them to better understand how markets work. Always stay curious.